Hi everyone, this is Subba Reddy. I'm Microsoft Teams app developer. So here we are here today to discuss about how can we develop app templates or how can we develop apps for Microsoft Teams. That means tabs implementation, bots implementation, messaging extensions. You will have different examples are also published in Microsoft site. So if you just search with Microsoft Teams app templates, right, in the Google, then you will be able to redirect to this site. And in this Microsoft website, there are number of apps published like Bouquet Room app, Celebrations app, Company Communicator app, Contact Group Lookup app, Crowdsource. So there are number of apps were published as a templates. Uh, Templates means you can use these templates. For example, this is one of the template. And if you click on this, get it on GitHub, right? You can open this particular site. You can download the code. You can customize based on your requirement, or you can, as it is, if you are satisfied with these functionalities, you can download this part of code and you can use this code to publish in customer environments also. Even though it's a Microsoft property, they're publishing as a public GitHub, and it is open to use for the customers and companies. So everybody can use these app templates and can do further customizations. So here we will have all the details like documentation, deployment guide, architecture details, what actually this application is required, like what are the Azure services required and what is the cost it will take for what is the Azure cost it will take for this app to use. All those details are exist in this particular app templates. So if we just this is the place where you can see what is the functionality of that one. It is just having those details here. So if you go to deployment guide, here it is having what are the services we used for this application, and first you need to register the Azure AD application, and then what are the steps. It's like each and every step with the screenshots. We can just follow this one to deploy into your test environment or production environment. And this is using ARM template to deploy the code from here. And once you publish, if you locally download, right, you can just publish the code from Visual Studio to this app service so that it will take the latest updates, whatever you made in Visual Studio. So this is about the app template, and it is also having steps. How can you upload the manifest file into Teams so that you can use in the Teams? And it is having other details like a cost estimate, data stories, known limitations, migration guide means it is actually migrated from version 1 to version 2. So how you can migrate that, those details are also there. So you can find all these details in the app templates. So you can take this website as a base to start your development. Uh, when you want to use Graph API, or what is the controls you need to take for user interface? What are the controls to take for background like web APIs? So it is, instead of doing everything from scratch, you can take this solution as a base and you can do your customization based on your requirement. For example, if you just need like a tab, maybe the tab and bot, you can take this company communicator as a base. Or if you just need tab functionality, no bot, then you can take this contact group lookup as a base for your application. So this is the interface, and in the background it will have the .NET Core web APIs. So in the interface, right, you can just go through this code to understand how it was implemented. So for example, here in the interface, you can see how what are the controls was used in this one, because there are some icons here, and some like buttons also are coming in the format of Teams theme. Based on the theme, it is coming up. So to develop this UI, you actually need to use Fluent UI. Earlier it was called as a Stardust. Now it is renamed to Fluent UI. If you open this site is having all the details, like all the minor details of every control. How can you use, what are the properties for each control? You can see all those details using this Fluent React component library, which you can import into your application and you can use it. Here you can see different components like accordion, alert, animation box, text box, chart, checkboxes, drop down, flex, segment, image, input layout, list, pop-up controls, reactions, how can use. So all these are controls are already available here, and you can reuse these controls. You can use these controls in your application to develop from the team's point of view. This is especially useful for teams development. The reason is in your teams, right? You can actually change your themes from settings. Like in the settings, you can change it to dark theme or high contrast theme, something like this. So when you actually change this one, the controls, colors, background colors, everything getting changed based on the theme change. So if you develop the application with this Fluent UI, that theme changes also will be taken care automatically. You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about the theme changes and everything. And also the UI alignments also will be proper, and it will be in like the teams like out of box functionality you're using, something like that you will be able to see. So it's always preferred to use this Fluent React UI component library for app development, for UI development for the Teams apps. And in the background, you can use .NET Core. You can find different articles on the .NET Core to get the knowledge about it. And if you want to get some Azure resources like Azure AD, Active Directory groups, or it's also called Microsoft 365 groups, or if you want to read user calendar information, if you want to create meeting, all those things can be done with the Graph API. So this is the Graph API, and you will be able to find different concepts or like a different Graph API calls. How can you access calendar? How can you access teams, groups, channels from the teams? You can all get all that information using this Graph API. Further also, there are many changes are coming into Graph API, like not changes, like add-in features, like they are planning to Microsoft is planning to develop like a single way of accessing Microsoft 365 data using this Graph API. So one you need to access this Graph API from your application to read that information. But all that type of code also is already there in company communicator, contact, group lookups. These are the two main applications. You can see this Graph API calls as well. How can you get Microsoft 365 resources or data? So you can take as a base, because it will require some application permissions, delegated permissions, right? You can get some basic part of code from this app template itself. That is one of the uh, good thing. You don't need to do everything from scratch. So that is one of the beauty in this app templates. And there is some concepts in Microsoft Teams, right? You can also do some bot functionality. In bot functionality, there will be like a user frequently asked question. User will ask some question, and bot will react with the answer. And sometimes you don't user will not interact with the bot, but it needs to send some proactive messages. So all that type of code or all type of actions you can find actually in these bot builder samples in this C Sharp.NET Core, right? Here it is having number of like 81 or number of samples, number of projects here to get the code. For example, if you want to send proactive messages, you can take reference of this code to see how proactive messages can be sent. So if you want to access Q&A maker, then how can you do that? If you want to send multi-turn prompts, how can you do that? How to send welcome user message, how can you send that? You can see these samples to get the code to start with your development. So this is like a basic starting video to give overview of what you can refer to start Microsoft Teams app development. and let me know if you are looking for some other videos. I will try to cover that concepts in further videos. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks for watching this video.